In this video I'm gonna teach you how to make this text disintegration effect in After Effects. You can download the project file in the description down below. We will start by creating our text layer. So go to the type tool and type anything you want. Now I'm gonna center this with Ctrl-Home and Ctrl-Home. This will be our text layer. Now we have to duplicate this layer to make the disintegration particles. So select this layer and duplicate with Ctrl-D. And we will call this layer particles. And to this layer we are going to add the effect CC particles systems 2. You will see nothing happens yet, and that's because we have to move forward in time and we can see the particles there. But you can see the particles are cut off, so we're going to add a effect to expand the boundaries of this layer. Let's add the effect CC reptile and move it above the particle system effect, and we're going to expand this to the sides. So let's expand this like 1000 pixels in each side. Also let's change repeat to none. And now we can see the particles. Here in the particle system effect, if you go to producer, you have this position and you can move the position of the particles in the layer. But I want these particles to only be emitted by the text layer. So if we go here to particle and check this box that says source alpha inheritance, you will see now the particles disappear and it will only be emitted if this point goes above the text layer. You can see it here. And now to see this clearly, we are going to stop the movement of the particles. So go here to physics and let's change the velocity to 0 and also the gravity to 0. Now you can see the particles are a single point, and we have to move this point in the middle height of our text, like right here, and this point should have the same height of our text. So you can see here in producer we can change the radius and we can make this wider or narrower, but we're going to set the radius x to 0 and increase the radius y until this is the same height of your text. It can be a little taller if you want. Now that we set this up, let's increase the velocity. So for the velocity we're going to use 0.3 and you can see the particles again here. And we're going to animate this point, so it will go from one side to the other side. Let's place it here in the middle of the text in one side. Now let's move to the beginning of the timeline and hit the stopwatch of the position. Press U to see that keyframe. Now let's move forward and let's move this point to the other side while holding shift. Something like this is nice. Make sure to give it a little margin. And now you can see we already have this. But you can see there are really few particles, so we're going to increase the particles. Here in the first property of the effect you have the burst rate. And let's increase this value to something like 50. And you can see there are more density in the particles. Also you can see the particles making the same shape of your text. And now you can clearly see the particles have a different color of your text. So let's go here to the particle section and you will see the color map. We are going to change this to origin to depth. This means that when the particles appear it will be the same color of your text layer, and when they disappear after 2 seconds it will become the same color, the depth color. And we don't want the depth color to be red, so we're going to change the depth color to the same color of our text, but we're going to make this darker. And now let's see the particles, and you can see they look better. Also let's decrease the max opacity of the particles. So you can see the max opacity here. Let's set this to 40, and now it's looking better. Remember that you can change these values however you want. I'm just showing you the values that I think it make it look the best. So let's keep going. Now let's go to the physics section, and to make these particles to look better and even more realistic, we're going to increase the inherent velocity to something like 25, and this will give inertia to the particles. Now you can see all the particles are moving in the same direction of this point. Now they have momentum. And we want these particles to go up, so let's decrease the gravity to minus 0.3. give it a negative value to make it go up. But you can see they are like really fast, so let's increase the resistance to 15, and this will make the particles to slow down with time. You can see they start fast and then slows down. Okay, we have the particles done, and now we have to make this text to disappear after the particles. So for that we're going to create a null layer with Ctrl-Alt-Shift-Y, and we're going to use this null layer as a controller. Press P for position, and we're going to parent the position of this null layer to the position of the particles that were already animated. So grab this speed whip and select here. Now you can see the null is moving with the particles. And now let's create the solid we're going to use as a matte. So press Ctrl Y and let's call this solid matte. Make sure it's comp size and hit OK. And now let's parent this layer, not the position of the layer. You have to parent the entire layer to the null layer. So grab this speed whip and select the null layer. Now you can see this solid layer is moving with the null layer. And because we didn't parent the position, we can move this layer however we want. So let's move a little forward. And let's move this solid layer when the particles appear, like right over here. And let's use this solid layer as a matte. So let's go to the original text layer, this one at the bottom. You will see the track matte here. If you don't see it, you have to toggle switches and you will see it. Now with this speed whip, select the matte. And now you can see the text disappear with the particles. We can even move this position keyframe that it will still work. Also, to give it a better look, grab these both keyframes and assist them with F9. Now let's see the animation we have. And there we almost have it. Just a little detail to avoid this sharp cutoff you can see here because of the matte. Let's go to the matte layer and let's add the effect Gaussian blur. And check this repeat edge pixels box and increase the blurriness to something like 50. And you can move this matte if you want, like over here, and hide it again. And we have this done. I'm gonna hide this null layer because it doesn't contribute in anything. Now let's see the final animation. Looks pretty sick. You can even change the text to anything you want. You have to make this in both layers, the original text layer and the particles layer. Type the same text and it will still work. If this was helpful for you, consider liking and subscribing. If you're starting in motion graphics, want to improve fast and build a solid portfolio, join Animation Essentials in the link in the description.